Alright, good morning YouTube and Twitch. This is Harmony Muse with more Final Fantasy XV. As you can see by the title, we're going to be getting ready to do our first dungeon today. Which means first, before we can go do that first dungeon, I'm going to need to get some questing done. Basically, he wants me to get all dolled up for the meeting and spending time with the Admiral. He's got my level 15 quest, which also gives me a new Marauder ability, specifically the ability to throw my axe. Wavering gaze. Okay. Reports of a sizable creature roaming outside Aleport in Lanasha. This monster is no Kuchata, but presents the locals. It should also prove a worthy foe. How to find this beast? I'm fortunate enough to count among my friends, veteran hunter. Okay, so go to Aleport, find monster, kill monster. Gotcha. And when we get that done, we've got the novice quests in the Drowning Wench to get done. Actually, let's go ahead and get those done now. They give a nice set of level 15 tanking gear. As well as giving lessons on how to tank. Because, let's be perfectly honest, anybody who's played an MMO has been in a group with people who didn't know how to do their job. And didn't know the basics, simple matters of stay out of the cone of death. Or let the tank take aggro before you start hitting, or something similar stuff. Okay, it's just basically blah, 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 blah. Teaching people how to do adventuring work so we don't get themselves killed. All the novice. Okay. These act just like duties, except that I'm doing them, except that they're solo work. Oh Lord, this music. This here is a remix of the combat theme from Final Fantasy II. Not the SNES Final Fantasy game we got and was told was Final Fantasy II, but the actual Japanese Final Fantasy II. He's basically telling me blah blah blah, get the hell out of the way of big attacks. We're going to teach you how to do that now by having you do it. So our job here isn't to kill this dude, it's to keep this dude from killing me. To stay out of that. You'd be surprised just how many people, even who've done the novice quest, don't learn that lesson. Believe it or not, even with tanks supposed to be being the more far. Oh, shit. I would love to move if I could. And this trains you for how to avoid area of effect from multiple enemies at once. This might sound like basic stuff, but you'd have no clue just how many people don't learn the basics. Standing, learn to avoid obvious attacks of the skill. All adventurers need those who insist on standing still won't long survive. The survival, each of my lessons will earn you a piece of armor. The other masters, okay. There's a bonus for completing the exercise. Free set of gauntlets. Now these gauntlets are going to be better than any level 15 basic quest reward I could have gotten. You notice I have over triple the amount of defense and magic defense my old gauntlets did. Not to mention a good bit of stat work on them too. Okay, let's do that again. We're going to keep doing that until we complete the whole shebang. Now I think we're going to get into the nitty-gritty of actually keeping aggro. With the wall of steel, it takes the enemy hits, exactly. Soaking up the pain and keeping your mate safe, that's what you need to focus on most during battle. Enmity is a measure of how badly a foe wants to kill you, and it's your job to be at the top of every enemy's list. And that's basically exactly what a tank's job is to do. That's about enmity and how to build it. Best way to establish yourself a threat? Okay, string together some combos. In your case, I start out with Heavy Swing and follow it up with a Skull Sunder. Show me a solid series of blows and I'll consider your lesson learned. Let me know when you're ready to begin. Alright, yep, let's get this done. I'd love to if you let me target him and don't do nothing fancy, get the order wrong more than 5 times when we start, or 4 times when we start over. That's the way. Yep. Again, while this is just as simple as teaching me how to use my combos, again, you'd be very surprised how many times I've ran dungeons and the tank wasn't even using their aggro, their basic combo. Stuff you'd consider Bush League simple crap and people weren't doing it. Now to execute a combo in actual battle. Again, this isn't making fun of the average player. Playing an MMO, going from other video games, it's like learning a whole new language. You know, dots, hots, DPS, aggro, enmity, and so on and so forth. That's nice. Now get out my way and let me go do. I kind of feel worried about the concept of going into Satasha without with not having flash. I'm gonna have to use overpower instead. I'm gonna have a problem getting used to that. I'm trying. Okay. Brand new sabatons. Okay. The rest of this is largely going to be the same thing. Okay. Acquire enmity from multiple targets. This is going to be teaching me how to use my overpower. Power looks at every... Okay. Make sure you're positioned so you don't miss anyone. The difference between Flash and Overpower, while Overpower uses TP, which regenerates faster than MP, it's also a cone versus a radial around you. So I'm used to using Flash as a Gladiator and later Paladin. So this is going to be new for me. Okay, so this is also giving me a good idea for the range of Overpower. Okay. I can take the hang of that. Got one more. I know this is getting boring, but it's important lessons. You know, healers get similar, DPS, both ranged and melee, get similar. All right. a trick I learned as a paladin. Your combo aggro generators, you don't have to use them all on one enemy. You can tap to a different enemy and still maintain your place in the combo. If you've got multiple enemies, but you don't have the TP or MP to keep laying out the pain, and your party are being idiots and not following the marked order that you set for them, you can always swap out and make sure that each of your hits in your combo hit a different enemy to spread out the aggro generation. I can do calls for different technique. Use the situation. Here's a bonus for completing the exercise. Remember this on the field of battle. New pants. So I'm not going to be running around with my underwear showing. I make jokes, but that's literally what Subligar were. Ancient Roman underpants. That looks more respectable. Oh, I can't do that until I've gotten my Tomahawk power. So it looks like I'm going out and doing my quest now. Just as well, getting level 15 also gets me Tomahawk for using when I'm in actual combat or in actual dungeons. But our main goal for today is to get to where I can do one dungeon to show y'all. If I have time, I'm going to try to do 2 or 3. Now it's time to basically sit and fidget and wait. And yes, you can see that Chocobo has a pretty little hat on. The Celia Accords? Okay. I swear that I saw them out around Swiftperch yesterday. No, I think they were the person that I accidentally almost got killed at the one fate on the edge out into Western Lenosha yesterday. Feel bad about that. Now, each of those little encounters counted as a quest, so you can see I'm already almost level 16. It's one good thing about this game, they practically throw the earlier levels at you. Now, one downside of things, if you want to be a crafter, it's hard to be a dedicated crafter in this game because of so many, dependent disciplines. Weaponsmiths rely on wood from carpenters to make the hafts for their weapons. Armorers rely not only on tools from blacksmiths to, hammers, but also on leather and cloth from weavers and leather workers to be able to, for armor padding. It's a very complex interplay, and you see a lot of crafters actually cross-train everything to make it to where they don't have to rely on somebody else. Or they put a lot of money into the auction house to get the materials they need. Now, half the crap I have in my inventory, all this mint and meat and bug guts, that's all crafting materials, either for alchemy or for cooking. The leather from various animals can be used for, again, leatherworking. So, if you're going to be a dedicated crafter, it's damn near expected that you are going to be doing at least some combat adventuring. In fact, to do the Heavensward and Stormblood level crafting, you're gonna have to do killing there, and, you know, do or go through the main quest just to get access to those areas. Okay, they've got... Alright. Of course, if I see a fate with the boss, I'm going to go fight it. I just died in 6 arms tonight, but okay, that's a good... I'll give the guy credit for that. Using the name Shinbane as a name for a Lalafell. That's cute. That's entertaining. Now, you're on your own for these fellas because I was just passing through. Don't really like the changes with the whole cross-class abilities. Because I feel naked... not being able to put protect or cure on a character. Even if protect and cure... Oh my god. Did they actually name a character? They named it Dark Helmet. Spaceballs reference. Okay. Now, I won't consider the music as atmospheric as, say, the Ronfar theme from Final Fantasy XI. But having been a proud Sandorian during that game, well, yeah. My fiance, she still considers me insane for enjoying those nonstop bagpipes. Ornson's girls, no, that's right, those knee high to it. Well, he's always been a bit of a big fella, and now they call him Max Master. Not a subtle lot, you marauders. I suppose you're here to hunt for your local trouble. What you need to do is take yourself northwest to Camp Skull Valley, give a good whistle. The mean bugger over there is named Patra Patan, and will come running across the Weeder Plains. He'll think you're trespassing, so you better have that cleaver of yours ready. Ashan's blessings be on ya. I don't remember which of the 12 gods is Ashan, but I'm assuming he's saying God help you because I won't. But each of the classes, every single one of them, have a story quest every 5 levels like that gives you both a lesson on how to play your job, but also insight into the background, into the backstory of said guild. Even the crafters do. I mean, you learn from the blacksmith and armorer skills that they are basically an offshoot of shipbuilders, people who repaired ships at sea, and who made the tools that shipwrights used again at sea. And when the whole age of piracy came and went, they put their skills to a less larcenous use. I mean, the Culinarians Guild is based on learning the tricks of cooking from the most prestigious restaurant in the world, basically, or on the continent at least. I mean, if you play an archer, you learn that a large amount of the techniques that archery learned came from old elven traditions. And even if you are an elf, there's one of the students who's very, very dismissive and pissy with you because you're a foreigner, you're a Gaijin, there's no way you could truly understand what we do. Task will demonstrate how strong you've become. Work to Skafgrim as he waits on the bank of the Ageless River, and he shall unveil the untapped power of your axe. Middle Lanasha. Okay, so time to go back out. Ring around the rosy. Now, I still want to know how archery became bards. Because when I think of bards, I think of musicians. And the last thing you ever see a bard do in a Final Fantasy XIV dungeon is play a song. Unless it's a song that gets them to the combat faster so they can do their DPS faster. This might sound like a little bit of prejudice on my part, and you'd probably be right. The only... I've seen very good skilled bards before, so it really isn't fair of me. And again, my friend Fan and his character Misha. A friend of mine who used to play back when I played on Midgard Zomer, John Tanta, though he's went back to playing Final Fantasy XI. Oh, speaking of that, I've got a funny story for y'all for Final Fantasy XI. Back when my fiance was still just my best friend, was back when Final Fantasy XI had just came out. You know, those first few months. I went way too far. Anyway, I was playing the game one night, and she had been over because it was just after it was a weekend, we'd just gotten off of work. And yes, a guy can actually be platonic friends with a woman. Anyway, she saw that I was playing Final Fantasy XI and said, "Oh, that looks interesting. Can I play for a little bit?" So, because I had a so I went ahead and had her create a character on my account and let her play. And she really got into it. In fact, several hours later, I told her, "Hey, look, I'm going to go to sleep. You can keep playing, just try to be quiet." 8 hours later, I woke up. She's still playing. She's actually in the high teens in Valkyrie Dunes with a group grinding monsters. There's big old mold origin while you're here. Publish rec time. Okay, if you're here to crack this beauty, you need to sunder it. Impossible. Wouldn't send you out here if you didn't think you were more than capable. About your first attempt, I guess it's back to the Axe Master for you. That's the only reason you sent me out here? That can't be right. It is. Okay. Well, Long story short, I ended up giving her that account and bought myself another copy of the game. And to this day, you know, as hardcore of a gamer as I consider myself, she got further in those 10 hours than I did basically ever. But when it came to Final Fantasy XI, I was really more of a dabbler. Tried a little bit of this class, a little bit of that class, and as soon as stuff got challenging, I tried another class, and yeah. But then Final Fantasy XI was one of your early generation of MMORPGs, which is to say massively multiplayer online role-playing game for those of you who aren't, you know, super nerds like myself. Anyway, back then, it was expected that you were in a party for near everything. Even if that was just a second person or a third person. Even as early as level 5 and 6, things started getting challenging if you didn't have a second person with you. You know, it was hard, it was challenging, but I can guarantee you, every level somebody got in Final Fantasy XI, they felt like they earned that shit. That she is. Or that she is, Mom. That she is. And I could tell you stories of beating my head against Final Fantasy VIII for years. She got a hold of it like that. Final Fantasy X, I beat my head against ground and ground and ground. She beat it just like that. She taught me the whole auto-regen trick on Final Fantasy IX. If it is strength determines recognition, huh? Okay. And this is something here that happens pretty much with level 15 for literally every single class. You're taught a new ability at level 15 and another one at level 30. Okay. And for the tanks, the level 15 ability is pretty much, oh, you can throw your axe now. You notice I'm taking the bronze pieces. Everything that person, everything that this fella had to offer me, I would be able to have gotten as rewards, except for maybe a helmet. I don't know that I... Get the new war axe. Okay. Now, a lot of people would be the kind that would be too proud to admit when somebody is better than them at something. Goodness knows I've had family that were like that. When it comes to learning new things about games that I enjoy, I'm happy to admit it. My sister actually taught me a trick with an old MMO that doesn't exist anymore called EverQuest Online Adventures. This was a short-lived project that Sony did back in the day to try to bring MMOs to the console. This was when they had just put out a new modem for the PlayStation 2, so you could play games online. The neat thing about it was we learned to try to creatively exploit the system in ways that we don't think they originally intended, but when we figured it out, they basically left it in. And specifically, we're talking about food kiting in EQOA. Basically, most of your spellcasters had an ability called a root, which locked an enemy in place. The root was broken when you did any damage to them. Now, these enemies did so much damage, they were just as likely to outright kill a spellcaster like I was playing in 2 hits. So what we would do is we'd throw an attack, then throw root, and then drop to the ground and eat some food for a heal. Lather, rinse, repeat. Good thing was, food was cheap enough you could get away with doing that. This is your basic lesson about how to pull and not be an idiot about it. I have no idea how long it took me to learn this lesson the hard way back in the day. I haven't seen Fracture yet. That used to be a go-to low-level bread and butter Marauder ability. I know I used to slot it over to my Dragoon for a while for an extra DOT. And then so easy it was to split up that big nasty mob. Situation don't always allow it, but there's often a better strategy than charge. Here's your bonus for completing the exercise and your training on the field of battle. What do we have here? Engage enemy reinforcements. Okay. Don't mind me, just a little overheated because I forgot to turn off my AC after putting the filter back in. But this is just the basic, listen up, this is how you do it. Make sure if reinforcements come in, you're a tank. Make sure you pull aggro. Don't let your squishy members of your party take damage. I think I might actually get up and go turn on my air conditioner after I get this little engagement done. you don't. No, you do not. I don't know why, even though I had aggro on it, it kept running towards the healer. Reinforcements ain't so hard. Remember to train on the field of battle. And here's the brand new Quiris. Okay. Notice again how much defense it has. And I look like I'm actually wearing decent, realistic looking armor now. Records. Okay, final exercise. After this, I get a ring, I believe. But this is the whole concept of use what you've learned, get through this encounter, etc., etc. Exercise. It's a culmination of putting all the skills you learned to put to the test, etc., etc. Breathe deep, remember your lessons, you'll do fine. Prepare to start, let's get this done. Now again, I'm used to easy moding it with a paladin and flash. So this is going to be new to me. I've heard this particular song before. About the only person I can think of is the Final Fantasy Tower Defense game that was on Xbox 360 for a time. Crystal Defenders, I believe it was. Okay. Not the last fight here, though. That concerns me. Pain's Guru. Notice one thing I'm doing is turning it away from the group because it does those cone attacks. With me having all the aggro, if I was on the other side of the enemy with them, they would be doing those cone attacks and those ranged attacks too. It took me a while to learn that. I know for most gamers, especially most tanks, that's common sense. But again, it was something I had to learn. And there. Okay. Congratulations on completing the course. Here's a little something to mark the occasion. Okay, a ring that gives +3 to all stats, but that's not the whole of it. Up until I get to level 30, all XP I get is increased by 30% while wearing this ring. This makes leveling up through the low levels, especially on off classes, amazingly easier. That's something else they did with this game, which I think was a very good idea. And I will be right back. Give me a moment, please. Okay. Sorry about that. I was sweating like a dog. Guess that's a rather inaccurate saying, since dogs mostly sweat through their tongue, I do believe. Anyway. That's done. Time to get back onto the main quest line because, again, the first 3 dungeons in this game, you're required to go through. But ain't Melva's guest of honor. I'm with I and Mighty now. Well, I'll tell you, lass. I damn near snorted ale out my nose when I heard the news. I've come a long way, and that's the truth. One thing's for sure, you'll not want for decent grub. These banquets are catered by the Bismarck, no less. Food you can't sink. There's a grand chance to fill your belly to bursting with fine and, more importantly, free food. Now, we can't have you turning up in your shit-caked adventuring gear. The hero of the hour has to have a touch of refinement about her. If only to stop complaining when she stuffs her face with cake. Take yourself over to the Octa and speak to Janisim of the Brugera Consortium. She'll furnish you with something ladylike to wear. Already had a word with her. All you need to do is pick up the goods and bring them back here so I can tell you what's what. Just checking on a couple of things. There's a level 14 quest in town that I want to check on. The basics, so you want to be that and that and that. Okay. And it's on the lower deck, so time to get down. Where is that quest? Unless they don't set it up to where you don't get it until later. But the short answer is each area, each city, at least back when I used to play. Good morning, miss. You're the underdressed lady. Oh, kiss my ass, lady. I see you wasn't exaggerating. I have these especially for your debut in Polite Society. If you're not, I'm certain you will adore them. Collect the package, show the Roxy-lined box. Okay. Funny thing about these little gimme bits of jewelry they give you to start that they didn't used to do back when I played. Those are basically better than stuff you get up until your 20s. So that kind of... Great. Fairy Tail fan. Yeah. Oh. Spot the Weeb. They named their character after something from 2 separate animes. Neither of which was an archer at that. Okay, okay, let's have the box then. Nice pair of dress shoes for you. Alas, mightn't have much else to her name, but as long as she's got a decent pair of shoes on her feet, there ain't nowhere else she can go. Think of them as a gift from me and all the other folk you've done right along the way. Aye, 'tis a very moving gesture, I know. Just don't go welling up on me, eh? Wouldn't do for Limsa's new hero to turn up at the banquet soaked in her own tears and snot. Gotta love the ye olde pirates, you know, not having much in the way of manners. You know, telling it like they see it. Anyway, let's get your garb sorted. Now you just need to settle your nerves. Tell me when you're ready and I'll tell you where you're meant to go. Okay, let's go ahead and put them shoes on. Because literally you have to be wearing these shoes when you go to see. I'm not even making it up. They set it up to where you have to be wearing these shoes to get into the banquet. Batter on. Okay, I want you to let them know when you're ready to depart for the banquet. Okay. Banquet will be starting soon. If you'd wait any longer, I'd consider it my civic duty to hit you over the head and drag you there. Now, make sure you're wearing your fancy shoes. Carry them will do no good. They're meant to make you look like a lady, not some lady's bleeding lackey. As for directions, the feast being held on the bridge, the Admiral's briefing room. Speak with Xanathale in the Bulwark Hall and he'll show you the way. Now keep your head held high, and everything you've done for Limsa, you've good reason to be proud. Let no highborn bugger tell you different. Okay, so we need to get down to Bolt. Okay, because of the amount of quests we have to go through before we get to where we can do the dungeons, I might not be getting to where I can do Satasha today. But I promise you we'll get it done tomorrow if we can't do it today. Dress shoes, fancy dress shoes, and adventurer wearing fancy dress shoes. Now, those are some fancy dress shoes. Come, I'll show you the briefing room. And here, have another cutscene, everybody. There's the Stola and the Commodore.
Brothers and sisters of the sea.
Sorry, I was in the army, lady.
Join me now in honoring this woman for her services to our great nation. May the navigator guide and protect her on her journey till sea swallows all.
Don't mind me, I'm just here for the free eats.
These pirates you encountered with the tattooed faces, they call themselves the Serpent Reavers. Their ranks are formed of cutthroats and madmen who have pledged themselves body and soul to the primal Leviathan.
Oh yeah, anytime you hear a primal's name mentioned, we end up fighting them sometime down the road.
From what we have gathered, they sought to swell their numbers by spiriting away any soul unfortunate enough to cross their path. I need not tell you the depth of the animosity between us and the Sahagin. How any seaman worth his salt could devote himself to the fishback's god is a question for a more temperate mind than mine.
You sound calm as it is, and you're saying that, okay.
But, thanks to you, our citizens may once more go about their daily lives, safe in the knowledge that they will not be dragged into the darkness by those execrable curs.
Such an extraordinary glow. This is one of the crystals of light.
By the Navigator.
After our encounter with the Gubu, you had a vision, did you not? Of a towering crystal.
Yes, I did.
You bathed in her light.
Yashtola's conclusion is clear, and I see no reason to doubt it. You are the vessel of a higher power.
Simply put, there's various classes of deity, of God in this game. And they're all based around crystal. You've got Hydaelyn, who is the creator deity of the world. You've got the 12 gods who are, represent various different things, like God of the Sea, God of War, or Goddess of War, rather. The god of money and death, the goddess of the moon, and so on and so forth. Each of the various beast races have their own primal, which is, again, for them, a god. One thing that's different about this world compared to other games and other mythologies, the various people using enough crystals can summon their god. And other people can kill that god. In fact, as we go through at least the Realm Reborn content, you end up killing a lot of gods. The trick is, you're not killing them permanently. With a few more crystals, they can just be summoned up again. It's almost as if they're basically powered by belief. And that as long as people believe, they can't stay dead.
This being from your vision was the Mother Crystal. Your description matches what, and if she has chosen you, then your deeds may yet shape the fate of nations.
More than you know, lady.
As once did the deeds of the Warriors of Light. Know you the tale? Like you, they were not of these lands, yet they fought to protect us all against the corruption of the primals. When the Garlean Empire began its conquest of the realm, these heroes joined the Grand Companies and helped reforge the Eorzean Alliance. And at the Battle of Carteneau, they took the field beneath our banners to fight for everything we hold dear. It was on that day, in the midst of that hell, that we lost them. Every soul who survived that battle will never forget how it was to fight beside them. We are proud to call them our comrades. Yet whenever we try to shout their names, the sound dies in our throats. And whenever we strain to see their faces with our mind's eye, naught but
These
their
are adults,
shadows appear
by the
to
way.
us, set against a blinding light.
Their race is just that small and that cute.
Ask any true Eorzean who knew them, and the story will be the same. It is for this reason that we call them the Warriors of Light. When I look upon you, I cannot help but be reminded of them.
Spoiler, when you finish the 2.0 final quest, you actually get the title Warrior of Light.
Keep that crystal safe. In time, I believe the Mother Crystal will make clear her reasons for bestowing it upon you. Heed well her words, adventurer, for it is Hydaelyn herself who speaks.
And we have another flashback slash acid trip slash seeing somebody else's memories. This is something I really appreciated about Final Fantasy XIV, is they went so far in incorporating the end of 1.0. All of this was the end of the original version of this game. Back before they made it a Realm Reborn. There were so many problems with the original version of the game that the person who they got to take it over, Naoki Yoshida, while keeping that game going, was secretly working on a Realm Reborn, which was the re-release. And what they did was, at the end of 1.0, on the closing day, they pretty much had an end of the world event. You know, lots of fire, lots of death, lots of carnage, and they worked it into the backstory for 2.0, A Realm Reborn. I think it was brilliant.
Victory belongs to the bold. Show those Imperial whore sons what we're made of.
The left flank buckles. Divert the barracudas. Bid them hold that position, though it cost them their lives.
That person you saw there was General Roban, the personal attaché to the Sultana, Nanamo Ilnamo of Ulda. So we've got a general, an admiral,
the yellow
and a
serpents are
priestess.
in need of succor. Pray, send
She
the white
might look like
wolves
she's
to
all
their
of 11
aid.
or 12, but she's really several hundred years old. Because, goddamn it, Japan.
The adventurers risk life and limb for our cause. We must not fail them.
And we see zooming in on a figure at... Hey, it's that fella from the vision at the beginning of the game when I was creating my character. Not one like him, but specifically that
Is
helmet.
aught amiss?
No, it is nothing.
Bloody hells! The barrier won't go down so easily. Eyes forward!
We are being watched.
I'm gonna check something really quick. Okay, it's been a... Okay.
Raging Bull, calling Bloodthorn. Bloodthorn, respond! Respond, damn you!
He's dead, man.
Ah!
Raging Bull, this is Mad Snake. Respond.
You're gonna actually, as much as this is a war scene, anybody who's played Metal Gear is gonna appreciate the next few minutes.
Ryder, this is Raging Bull. What news?
We're surrounded by a blaze. There is no way out. God preserve, what is that thing?
What's going on? Speak to me!
God damn it! We cannot hold much longer.
Mad Snake! Mad Snake! Answer me!
I'm sorry, but after having played Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, and 5, that little bit right there is hilarious. Even though it's meant to be tragic that somebody died.
Damn it! Damn it all to the 7th hell!
What of the barracudas? Can they not be reached?
Sorry, Admiral. Shell's not working.
What of our own?
I cannot say, my lady. That monstrosity appears to be disrupting our communications.
We must keep trying. Call till they respond.
Yes, my lady.
Admiral, General, we can do no more. We must give the order to withdraw.
I will not forsake Louis Soir.
This thing here is important to the 2.0 story.
General, please. Victory may belong to the bold, but there will
Basically,
be no victor this
short
day.
answer so far is Y'shtola's boss, or rather, was.
You know this to be true. Let us not sacrifice lives in vain. The adventurers fight bravely, but to no avail. Let them withdraw, and let us be the ones to stand with Louis Soir.
And yes, that looked like a spear made
Belay
out of
previous
teeth.
orders. All Maelstrom units are commanded to fall back, effective immediately. Give the foreign levy priority. Let the main host cover their retreat and bring up the rear.
Basically sacrificing their own lives to the adventurers, namely the player characters of 1.0 to get away.
Damn it! Relay the order. All flames are to withdraw. I don't care if our link cells are useless. You still have a working pair of legs, don't you? Well, use them, you bloody half-wit!
I really liked Raban as a character.
The outcome of this battle was long since decided. Better to retreat now than risk a massacre.
Yeah, that's Bahamut doing that. That was what ended the, quote-unquote, ended the world in the first game, or in the first version of Final Fantasy. You know, Bahamut being the ultimate primal, the dragon god, basically. And all of this that we're seeing here is basically
dark,
a vision, a
presence.
memory of
Who
what
or what?
Melvin saw there. If we were starting in Old Isle, we'd be seeing it from Raban's viewpoint. If we were from Gridania, we'd be seeing it from Kane Senna's viewpoint.
We go to take our place beside Archon Louis Soir.
Basically what this is showing you more backstory. And in all of it, we have these jackpots. Ba weep grana weep nini bong. Okay, that I should live to behold Bahamut once more. Magnificent. The aeons of imprisonment have only made him hungrier. I am aware of them, pay them no mind, they are powerless to act. Translation? They know that I'm watching somebody, or this memory. Has begun, soon the planet will regain its true form. The short answer here, and again, this is very spoiler. Actually, no, I'll leave it up to debate. Morning, sunshine. Bit too much for you, was it? Well, we can tell he's probably a Sikh. He's got a Kirpan going on there. Happened, you don't remember then. You keeled over in the middle of the banquet and caused a right stir. Had to carry you back to the wench myself. Well, I say carriage was more a matter of dragging and rolling. Too much cake, I reckon. He just called me a fat ass. And you're like, don't fret. There's little wonder you were exhausted over everything you've been through lately. Your little nap seems to have put color back in your cheeks, so I'll leave you to it. Bugger, I almost forgot. The Admiral wants to see you again. Am I going to have another acid trip? When you feel up to it, go speak to Xanthan. I'll let you up to the command room. Oh, and stay awake. I'm told old Melvin was in the middle of telling you a story when you started snoring last time, so I'd actually look kindly if you repeated it. Well, I don't need to have the... I don't believe that I need the fancy shoes for this one now, so time to put my actual Sabatons back on. Okay, and this is your apartment that you basically have one of in every inn in every city. You know, it's sparse. There's also actual housing. You can buy a housing plot and decorate it how you will with believe it or not, amenities made by crafters. The problem with that is housing is in such high demand, especially on a congested server like Excalibur. Good fucking luck getting a house. Doesn't bother me though, because houses are entirely optional. Nothing you need. Though they do give you the ability to feed and raise your chocobo and, you know, get them to where they have different colored feathers and such. Nothing I really want to bother worrying about. Admiral Bluefish is in one, or wants to see me, shall I announce it? Yeah, go ahead. And we're probably about to have another big-ass cutscene if memory serves. You see on your feet, you're recovered. Let us waste no time. I have a task that needs doing. One I would entrust to no other. Okay, so what do you have for me? Duty in mind that requires some explanation. I hope you haven't made other plans to business. And I'm the Laminson envoy, and I'm being given a wind-up airship. How much do you want to bet I'm able to use the airship after this? I've penned a letter to each of my counterparts in the Eorzean Alliance. Battle of Cartno and the calamity that followed claimed countless lives. It's been 5 years since those of us who were spared dragged ourselves from the ashes to look upon an Eorzean we scarcely knew. 5 years, and yet the people still suffer. Their lives are fraught with worry and hardship, and the warriors of light who might have once given them hope are gone. We must press on regardless. We will never truly do so, however, till we have faced our past. To that end, I am proposing a memorial service to be held in each of the city-states on the 5th anniversary of the battle. These letters contain the details of said proposal. I would have you deliver them to their allies as my personal envoy. You have proven yourself to be a staunch ally of Limsa, but that is not my only reason for choosing you. No, I choose you because you possess a quality which puts me in mind of history's champions. A quality I fear lost. Say that you'll perform this duty. Of course. I knew you wouldn't disappoint me. This task will take you far from the borders of our nation to the city-states of Gridania and Ul'dah. A grueling journey to be sure, but were you to travel by sea and land, I mean to have you take to the skies. Yeah, you could go the whole way on foot or by ship. An airship pass used at your discretion. Airships bound for the nations of our allies leave from the landing connected to the bridge. Before you depart, I suggest you trouble Baderon for a few pearls of wisdom regarding each of your destinations. The old bastard is nothing if not well traveled. It is a pity I cannot issue such passes with a freer hand, as I did in more peaceful times when berths were not so limited. But in these times of war, every craft we commit to the clouds risks drawing the eye of the Empire, and every voyage must needs be done out of necessity. Lest you doubt, I consider your place well deserved. Nor am I alone in that opinion. There were other parties who would see you granted the privilege of air travel. Your deeds don't go unnoticed. Full many see great promise in you, but I flattered you enough. On behalf of Limsa and her people, I bid you go forth, adventurer. Discover the realm for which many have fought and died. Wonder and danger await you in equal measure, but turn not from either. Only by braving the unknown will you achieve the greatness which you are surely capable. The light of the crystal guides you, and I wager your destiny will be no small thing. Translation: I get to take a whistle-stop tour of each of the 3 cities. Okay. First, I need to get up to Batteron, talk to him. Ground and Wench. Back from your meeting with the Admiral. Personal bleeding envoy, and he's applauding. So you'll be carrying word to of the Admiral herself to the leaders of the Alliance. Bugger me. I'm sorry, you're not my type, dude. But I didn't realize you got that bloody high. I'm proud of you, lass. Think of how far you've come. Why, 'tis enough to bring a tear to my eye, and if that aren't... And that ain't the ale talking either. Well, not just the ale at any rate. Bless the navigator for steering you my way. Dude, you should know, any good dealer knows you don't sample your own product that cuts into your profit margins. Of course, this is only the start. Now that you've got your hands on an airship pass, the old Eorzea is laid out, or the whole of Eorzea is laid out before you, like a fair maid on a feather bed. Leave it to a barkeep to make a sex joke. Fat. And she's a big girl with plenty of enticing. Oh God! If you think us Lamentans are characters, wait until you cross path with the grim forest dwellers of Dredania, or trade coins with the wealthy merchants of Ul'dah. Basically, to put it in pop culture terms, Limsa is basically Tortuga from Pirates of the Caribbean. Ul'dah is essentially Agrabah from the Aladdin movies, and Gridania is essentially Lothlorien from Lord of the Rings. And then there's the wild places where the beasties rule. No bugger with an ounce of sense sets foot. But you're an adventurer, so don't let a little thing like that hold you back. Of course, it ain't all exploring and excitement. There's a heap of troubles that plagues every nation. It ain't just ours. I'm talking intrigue and infighting and beastmen and lions and tigers and bears, oh my. And they're goddamn primals. There's an ugly side to life. Sooner or later, you're bound to walk into it, but I wager there's bugger all out there as you can't handle. Something tells me you're going to be just fine. You notice he's speaking in... I'm trying to translate his speech, his accent, into plain English here. The realm's had it rough, it's true, but folk are beginning to recover from the beat in the Calamity Delta. Call me a hopeless optimist, but it wouldn't take much to turn things around. This is a perfect time for an adventurer like yourself to get out there and make a difference. Well, what are you waiting for? Well, while I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and get myself over to the marketplace and get myself something. Of all of that gear that I got from doing that, doing the novice guide, I did not get a hat. I want a hat. I know I'm just as like to get one from the either the main story or from dungeons later, but and this doesn't really matter, but when other people's asses are depending on mine staying alive, don't need arms. Script exchange. What's that for? Lily Ainsland. There's a reference to Darkstalkers. Lord Impaler. Edgelord. Mr. Magic. Kalis Dawnstrider. Dank Nug Bong Lord. Okay, an unapologetic doobie man. Okay. You. Okay. So we're looking for a hat. We need a 19 pot helm, bronze barba, bronze salata. Now I've got a proper helmet. Now we need to get to the airship landing. Greetings, madam. This is a counter for passengers traveling to Gridania. Well, aren't you that famous adventurer? I thought I recognized you. You're an inspiration to us all. Highwind Skyways is at your disposal. Where will you be traveling? So they've got me... Okay. Prepare for one long-ass cutscene. I promise you, Square Enix, I am not trying to make my game entirely cutscenes. In fact, I will be skipping the cutscenes for most dungeons because that really pisses people off when you watch them. Because that makes the dungeon take longer. Mention all adventures. The airship bound for Gridania is about to depart. They make way to the boarding gate. And here is the iconic Final Fantasy theme as done for Final Fantasy XIV. And everybody's waving me off. Good fortune to you. They'll come when your name means the same as hero equal to this realm. It's funny that he cut it off as arrow because, again, to the anime fans, that's basically short for pervert. Now you walk in the light of the crystal. I really like the aesthetics in this game. It makes, They give each group of people their own particular feel. And, yeah. Astromoxidens, we go there someday. This is supposedly happening right as I'm leaving. Pay attention to this. These are important characters. Or rather, in the now of the game, they were important characters. A very nationalistic, pseudo-fascist salute, like Sig Heil.
It has been 15 years, but the bitter taste of defeat lingers still.
That's Dan Warren. I know that voice actor.
10 years since the Imperial fleet set course for Mordona, led by the Egrios, mightiest of all vessels. Silver Till lay ripe for the taking, and all of Eorzea would soon be ours. Or so we believed. But an innumerable host of dragons met us that day, at the heart of which flew the great Midgard Zormer. Though we succeeded in slaying that lord among worms, the dread serpent's defeat was bought at too high a price. Our invincible flagship was lost, and all hope of victory with her.
A bit of description here. There is an evil empire from another continent known as the Empire of Garlemald. The people themselves are known as the Garleans, who have been waging a war of conquest across the entire world.
Eorzea, a blighted realm, riddled with false gods.
They legitimately believe it their duty to kill off any belief in gods, that gods are dangerous. They think they're doing us a favor in trying to conquer the entire
Twice
world.
now, it has eluded the Empire's grasp.
You know, never mind that they do some cruel, dirty, underhanded shit like any Empire does. They firmly believe that they are in the right and doing every dirty trick they can. And when somebody is caught with that kind of self-righteousness is when they are their most dangerous.
For all the destruction it wrought, even Meteor, the great sin, failed to yield us control over it. And for this failure, the realm has sunk deeper into depravity. It is twisted beyond all reckoning, rotten nigh to the core. Yet, it must be saved. Only Garlean rule can bring order to Eorzea. It falls to us to deliver the misguided masses from their ignorance.
Great shades of the white man's burden there, jackass.
We are of one mind, Lord Van Balthar.
And what's more, several of the conquered nations, and you'll find out that they've basically taken over half of the known world. That several of the occupied nations have welcomed them. And yes, that guy has giant arm shields with revolver cannons on them. Pay attention to this, it's important.
Senior engineers, please report to Magitech research following scheduled inspection.
But their whole shtick is using magic to power technology. You know, just like...
Hey, is the Legatus really planning to take another tilt at Eorzea?
Hey? What hole have you been hiding in? We're in the midst of preparing for a new campaign, and a huge one at that.
But I thought the Emperor had given up the Western lands for lost after Cartano. What could the Legatus possibly hope to gain by acting alone?
I sense you harbor certain doubts over the wisdom of the Legatus' plan.
Yes, that's a third eye on his forehead.
My lord!
Please, call me Nero.
All
Tell me,
Garleans have them.
Where were you born?
Othard, my lord.
Alamigo, my lord.
Alamigo is where the Stormblood expansion takes place. Well, part of where it takes place.
Ah, codename Hummingway, I presume.
I don't know what you...
Silence. Your denials will not change your fate. I assure you, Frumentarium sees all.
Bit of a history lesson. Frumentarium, or the Frumentari, was basically the intelligence service, the secret police of the Roman Empire. And he just killed that dude.
Clean up this mess, and do not miss any, or I shall be most displeased.
At once, my lord.
And with a helmet that looks like an obvious snakehead.
Soon you will be made to know the true power of Magitech.
Ahoo! Ahoo! Excuse me. Oh. But you can see they borrow their weapon stylings from various different, somewhat realistic-looking armor. That looks like a legitimate style of Roman helmet that I'm wearing, you know, modified for anime purposes. Some of the shields you can get as a gladiator / paladin look legitimately like Roman scutum. Those were the giant tower shields that the Roman centurions used. You must be the envoy from Limsa. Welcome to Gridania. The Elder Seeds here waits your arrival, etc., etc. Speak with the Serpent Honor Guard. Greetings, madam. You're the Limsan envoy. I've received it to assist you. Make your way to the city proper and identify yourself to the conjurer at Nafika's altar. She will admit you to the Lotus Stand where the Elder Seeds here awaits. Alright. Now, I'm going to take a quick break from doing the main quest. Remember the first session that I played where I went and got all of the Aetheryte crystals for Limsa Lominsa? I'm going to do that now for Gridania. You're right, it does. But they make a point of saying later on that every single Garlean citizen, everybody of Garlean birth has one. And there's a reason why that's very spoilery for me to say, and we'll get to that when we get to that. But you can see the guilds they have in each city are really based around the interests of that city. For example, the city here in the woods, you have archers and spearmen for your combat classes. Conjurers, which they're effectively white mages in training, but they have a bond with nature. You have, for your crafting classes, you have carpenters, leatherworkers, and botanists. Botanists are the harvester class focused on trees and plants. So, carpenters will use them heavily for the wood. Culinarians for various spices and herbs. Alchemists for making potions. Interesting thing of note. The mining guild is in Ul'dah, where the blacksmith and armorer guilds are in Limsa Lominsa. And that's actually a fairly common thing that the gathering class for that a crafting class most heavily relies on will be in a different city. For example, weavers, or I believe they're called. Let me actually see what the official job name is. Weaver, yeah. They use plant fibers. They weave silk, cotton, that sort of thing. They rely on botanists at higher levels to gather the silk fibers and cotton fibers and such that they need for their stuff. At least I believe they do. I could be wrong there. I've never really leveled a Weaver to any decent level. Now, that's something else to talk about while I'm, you know, to burn time while I'm doing my walking around everywhere. That's another bit of dependency, there's gear for crafters as well. Usually made by either a leather worker or a weaver. Where weavers and leather workers in turn use needles and skinning knives made by, needles specifically by a goldsmith, I do believe, and the skinning knives by a blacksmith, who in turn wear the clothing to help them out better from a weaver. There's a lot of interdependency. I think that's a good thing if you have a large guild, because that allows one person to make things to help another, to help another, to help another. In reality, I think that most crafters get enough of each side job to be able to make the sub-materials that they need. I could be wrong there. I am a human. Making mistakes comes with the description. And it sounds like a lot of work, and it really sort of is, but I don't mind it so much. See if I'm missing one here. I think I might be. I am. I think I missed this one here at the amphitheater. Or maybe the Leather Workers Guild one. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I missed the Leather Worker Guild one. Now, say what you will, though. Crafting might be a lot of work, especially with the dependency that I was talking about. But I will say this for Final Fantasy XIV crafting. It's far, far less of a pain in the ass than crafting in EverQuest 1 certainly was. And far, far less of one than crafting in Final Fantasy XI. In Final Fantasy XI, the work it took to get materials, you could not buy any of them in town. So even at low levels, you were forced to go out and gather. You were forced to go out and mine and pray you found ore nodes that hadn't been camped by the 1,001 other people playing. And even when you finally had enough to make one thing, there was a percentage chance that you would make it, and a percentage chance that you would get a skill up. It wasn't guaranteed.
So you are the Laminson envoy.
As long as you're not an idiot, you will always make something when trying to craft in Final Fantasy XIV, and you will always get experience for it. It levels up like any other job. It's just that your combat is making shit rather than killing stuff.
And an adventurer besides. The realm owes much to you and your. On behalf of our fair nation, I bid you welcome. Please. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Khan-E Senna, Elder Seedseer of Britannia, and leader of the Order of the Twin Adder, our nation's grand company. I understand you bear a message from the Admiral.
Remembrance for the service to fall on account now. I think the 5 years have already come and gone. It seems like only yesterday the Garlean Empire tried to seize all that we hold dear. Rising in resistance, the city-states of Eorzea formed the Grand Companies and joined hands in resistance. But unknown to us, the Garleans sought not to best us in battle, but moved instead to enact a terrible plot. The meteor project by which the lesser moon Dalamod would be torn down from the heavens to annihilate all life below. In a desperate bid to save the realm from certain destruction, our forces marched for the Cartano Flats, where they met the 7th Imperial Legion. More bloody a battle I have never seen, and would never wish to see again, yet the carnage would be a prelude to the atrocity which followed. For despite our efforts, Dalamod continued its descent, and from it emerged the elder primal Bahamut, who proceeded to rain fire on Eorzea. The 7th Imperial Legion was consumed in the blinking of an eye, while our own forces fared little better. That any among us were spared defies explanation. All seemed sure to perish. As the bright flames converged upon us, I prepared myself for death, only for a brilliant light to envelop me, relieving me of my senses. When I last awoke, Bahamut was gone, and the land, which had but moments before been aflame, would now seem a place unknown, not simply ruined, but changed. Archon Louisoix may well have been able to shed light on these mysteries, but he, like so many, never returned from Cartano. And so we were left with countless questions and no prospects for an answer, yet such did not occupy our thoughts, for we had far graver concerns. The calamity and the devastation wrought by Bahamut has come to be known, laid our nations to waste, and to this day we struggle to rebuild our lives and homes. The compound matters of beast tribes continue to summon their gods, while the Empire encroaches on our borders, consolidating its foothold in Eorzea. The outlook, in short, is bleak. In the wake of the calamity, it has been all each nation could do to nurse its own wounds. The calamity is the reason for why the maps of each major area, Lenosha, Kurthus, the Shroud, and Thanalan, have all changed. It's all explained away by Bahamut's nuke in the world, literally changing the map and changing where places are. If we are to weather the coming storm, we need to stand united once more. Remembrance service may well present an opportunity to rekindle the spirit of unity that first gave rise to the Alliance. I wholeheartedly approve of the Admiral's proposal. The necessary provisions will be made for a service here in Gridania. You've done the people of Eorzea a fine service this day, and I would not put you to further trouble. I shall see that my reply reaches the Admiral anon. That's old Elizabethan English for in a minute, momentarily, quickly. You meanwhile are bound next for Ul'dah, are you not? Please send the Great Flame General my regards on if he would be so kind. I should appreciate it if you would inform him that a pet of mine has been ill as of late, my wolf to be precise. Needless to say, he must be brought to heel. I very much welcome the Council's General on how this might be achieved. They're speaking in code, basically. The wolf is a Garlean's, needing to be brought to heel. Translation, yeah, we might need to go kick some ass. I thank you for coming. May the 12 see you safe to Ul'dah and beyond. So we're going to be basically dealing, probably for the rest of the session, with a lot of boring-ass cutscenes. I'm not really boring in that there's so much story packed into these, but it's all stuff I've seen before. Several times, in fact. This guy's guild name is Dung. Are you serious? Are you serious? Blue names are other players. Kitiara Uthmatar. Okay. That's how we know that they're an old nerd. That name comes from the Dragonlance novels, which were around when I was a kid. For reference, about last Sunday, I turned 40. So, yeah, that's something from an old nerd. Or a young buck who likes old novels. Then again, who's the nerd? The nerd who names himself that, or the nerd who gets the joke? Anyway, we're on our way to Ul'dah, which after that I'm probably going to be sent off back to Limsa, and from there, I believe it's go back to each of the parties, and then, well, yeah. This is largely an exercise in getting me used to using the airship. And here we are in Ul'dah. And it's taking a long load. Now, at least it was my experience back in the old days that Ul'dah seemed to be a sort of a central hub. Because you could get to Limsa from Ul'dah, you could walk to Gridania from Ul'dah. There really wasn't much that took you directly from Gridania to Limsa. So, Ul'dah tended to be a bit of a central hub. At least back in the 2.0 days. General Raban will receive you in the Fragrant Chamber. Please take... Okay, this stand at Husting Strip and speak with Bartholomew at the Royal Promenade. I hear the term Fragrant Chamber and I think of somebody passing wind. I don't know why. Of course, it probably is coming from watching South Park too often and seeing that when they had the carnival there, they had the ride instead of the Tunnel of Love, they had the Chamber of Farts. And again, I wish I was making that up. I may be crass, but at least I try to when I'm online. Yeah. And a better running animation than we had in Mass Effect. I'm being a bit of a bully saying that, but don't get me wrong, I loved Mass Effect Andromeda. I loved Mass Effect 1 through 3. Shepard, his run animation, male Shepard, looked like he had to take a poo. Female writer looked a little bit more natural. At least it looked better than male Shepard. And as ever, I'm doing the... Yeah. Getting those ether rights allows us to travel around a city a lot faster. And with a sprawled out city like Ul'dah here, that is a godsend. Another quick way to travel. think I just broke my legs. At least that's what it would have been like if... Well, yeah. In a way, I sort of miss the... Sort of, mind you, miss what Final Fantasy XIV was back in the old 1.0 days. Because they sort of had an ability... And there's a Final Fantasy V player. Anyway, they sort of had an ability where you could take any skill from any class and equip it to any other class. You could take a Conjurer, which are the proto-white mages. You could put a whole bunch of sword skills onto that character and equip them to the hotbar. You could put heavy armor on them, because back in the day, armor really wasn't tied to, or what you could wear wasn't tied to your job. Your job determined what armor you were better at wearing. So a Conjurer would, you know, perform better and get more out of light armor than they would heavy, but they could still wear heavy armor. A gladiator or marauder could wear wizards, or, you know, wizardly gear, but they wouldn't perform as well in it. I sort of like the concept of you could do things that were stupid, you weren't outright blocked from doing them. I've got everything for this section of the city. I need to get back up and go actually talk to Ravan. And it made for some interesting things. I legit used to know a person who would play as a Conjurer, which at that point was an offensive spellcaster, really. They got all the nuke powers, where the Thaumaturge was a status effect caster. And I think had the healing. So things have changed massively over the years. What's on, I presume, maybe some Mississippi Bear. Please proceed. And you also could, rather than...
a guest from Limsa. I thought I smelled stale ale.
Jackass.
I won't hold it against you. If you're half the warrior Mervib says, 'tis a wonder you don't reek of dead Sahagin. Welcome to the Sultanate of Ul'dah. I am Ravan al-Din, General of the Immortal Flames.
And covered in more scars than... yeah.
But you did not come all this way to trade formalities.
No, I didn't. And yes, his helmet, or his shoulder pad there is made to look like a bull. Cartnow, I remember Bloody Cartnow. Do you know what happened that day when we took to the field? Yep. So my counterparts have educated you. Well, Kade's pet is giving her trouble, huh? She should already know my mind on that subject. Wolves are beyond taming. It's a matter of time before they bare their teeth. So it was with the Garleans 50 years ago. No sooner had they learned how to use Magitech than they began seizing territory from the neighbors. Led by the Legatus Solus Osgalvus, they quickly brought other nations of Ilzabard to heel. Ilzabard being the continent that they're from. And so the Legatus became an emperor and his republic an empire. An empire which set its sights on Eorzea. But the conquering empire is now an old man of 80 winters. His health is failing and he has no clear successor. Like as not, that is why the Garleans have been quiet as of late. But the 14th Imperial Legion, interesting that their 14th Imperial Legion is the one that we're fighting now. is still entrenched within our borders, and their commander, Legatus Gaius von Baelsar, is long harbored ambitions of conquest. Were he to strike now, I fear we'd fall like so many others before us, and not only Ul'dah, but Gridania and Limsa Lominsa as well. For the calamity brought the lot of us to our knees, and we've yet to get up. We barely have the strength to stand against the beast tribes, never mind the primals they mean to summon. We are a realm divided, adventurer and an alliance in name only. But the wolf cares not for the plight of its prey. The Garlean stir and the Elder Seedseer would not let it go unnoticed. Although the concerns pale in comparison to the Empire, even the beast tribes and their dark gods. We must stand united once more, that much is clear, and if we're to do so, we must remember the cause which last brought us together. Morelvib will have her memorial. I will honor the memory of the fallen. We will remind the people of what their brothers and sisters fought and died for. Sign, sign, sign. Right, right, right. Do, do, do. Do, do. Shall I inform the Sultan and the Syndicate? I will speak to Her Grace myself. Very good, sir. The Admiral will have my reply. Okay. My thanks to you, adventurer. Okay, what do I do now? Probably gonna have to go back to... There's my wind-up ship. We now use the airship routes connecting the three nations. Before you may board an airship, you must pay the requisite fare and guild. And I just got a wind-up airship as a pet, as a minion. What minions are non-combat pets that travel around with you. Like you see here, I have a little... I just summoned a little wind-up white mage to follow me around. Call of the Sea. Bartholomew has information that may be of interest to you. My Lady Envoy, I trust your stay in the Sultanate has been pleasant. Now, if you don't mind my asking, do you perchance have plans to visit Limsa Lominsa in the near future? If so, I have information that may be of interest to you. I went to accompany the Flame General on an official visit to the seaside city-state, during which time I became acquainted with Badaron, the proprietor of the Drowning Wench. The man sent word just now that he has a job for a capable adventurer. I can think of none with better credentials than you. Badaron would doubtless be pleased if you were to offer him your services. Okay, so it's time to get back to Gridania, or to Limsa. Before I do, though, I'm going to go ahead and finish off getting the Aetherites for Gridania, or Ul'dah. My waifu. Weeaboo. Weeaboo. For those who don't understand what I'm saying when I use the term weeaboo, it's a slightly derogatory term for people who go overboard on the fandom of things Japanese. Be it Japanese animation, Japanese comics, video games. It's not specifically a fan of such things, but someone who takes them overboard. I really have no place to talk there, given some of the things I've done, and given some of the things I've written. Okay. Internet girlfriend. Oh, Lord. Okay, now that one is funny. I'll give him that. That name was a little bit funny. That isn't funny. That's just sad. You'll notice that the Rugadin in this city tend to be red-skinned and have names that seem almost vaguely Native American. Like Silver Nettle, you know, Bronze Shield, things like that. Invalid target. Well, this reminds me of the Galka race, which looked just like the Rugadin from Final Fantasy XI. And the fact that my sister used to have a character that she played that she named Barking Spider. If you don't get the joke, Barking Spider is a rather crass term for one's butthole. Then again, said person also used to play World of Warcraft under the name Krusty Butt. So what can you say? Now I'm not trying to speak ill of them, because said person also taught me a lot of what I know about playing online games. You know, tactics about taunting, about kiting, about various other things. I'm just making fun of the person's ability to name a character. How long I've been? I've been right at 2 hours. Okay. I know I've got the lead-in quest for the first dungeon, which is going to be Satoshi Seagrot. Okay, somebody that actually picked a fairly rare name. Arcuide Grunstein. I believe that was a vampire character from the I think the term is Nasuverse. They're from the same visual novel company that made Fate Stay Night. Miss New Booty. I gotta check on something really quick. Basically what that was firstly a tutorial on how to use the airship system to travel around, and also to get you acquainted with the 2 other cities other than the one you started out in. Say what you will, they do go to a good length to try to get you acquainted with the game without making it feel like hand-holding. Because not only was that tutorial, but it was a massive exposition dump. And they handled it a lot better than a lot of games do. Hey, Batteron, long time no chat. What do you want me to do? Not much that would be like I'll be with. Oh, well, if it ain't the only such a distinguished adventurer reporting for duty, fancy that adventurer being you. Just so you're fairly warned, though, this ain't no job for the faint of heart. Things are liable to get downright bleeding hairy, but if you think you're still interested, I'll fill you in on the details. Complete. What do you got for me, buddy? It's probably pirates. Oh, and I'm already level 17. No kidding. I thank you for taking the time to help me out. Now, I'm sure you're busy, but I'll come straight to the point. Word has it some suspicious-looking buggers are sneaking in and out of Satoshi Seagrot, and I need a trustworthy sword to lead them, to head them up north to Aleport and find out what or who they are and what they're up to. Doesn't sound like much, I know. But since that nasty business in Swift Perch folks have been a bit uneasy. Well, I say a bit, 'tis all they can do not to soil themselves every time the bloody floorboards creak. If you permit me, Master Batteron, I'd be happy to elaborate. Hey, it's the Commodore again. Hello, fella. Commodore Yellow Jacket himself. To what do I owe this rare honor? Come to make sure that my patrons are behaving, or are you just thirsty? Neither. In fact, I've come to welcome my character back to Olympus Lamenson. It's well you've returned. Over the course of the past moon, been several sightings of an unfamiliar vessel off the coast of Aleport in the vicinity of the Isles of Umbra. This information came to my attention no more than a few weeks after a squad of my own soldiers completed a routine patrol of the region, the Satasha Sea Grot included. The search revealed little, save that a family of Kurls had taken up residence in the caves, nothing to concern us. In light of recent developments, it would seem wise to search Satasha again. With Sahagan testing our defenses daily, I'm loath to assign the task to the limited forces at my disposal, our line stretched thin as it is. Thus, I sought the services of a competent adventurer to conduct an investigation. Any aid you can offer in this matter would be greatly appreciated. And it's settled. Satasha is located in western Lenosha. For more detailed instructions on how to reach the place, I suggest you can consult Pamelpa. She can be found at the ferry docks on the lower decks. You heard the man, get to it last. Okay, before I do any kind of grinding, any kind of dungeon run, I am going to... Okay. Actions and traits. Main commands. System. Social. Okay, I'm looking for extras. Here we go. Waymarks. That's not what I need. I don't need waymarks, I need signs. Okay. These are what I'm going to use to mark the enemies that I'm pointing out to be fought. Okay, why are you in purple? Beauty is only scalp deep. Rising to the challenge. What do you got for me? I'm going to look that one up really quick. Rising to the challenge. I don't remember that one. Okay. The challenge. Challenge log. What is the challenge log? Oh, that. We will come back to you. That's something I need to bother with for now, but the challenge log will be something that helps us level even faster. It's basically daily and weekly achievements that, as you do each of them, you're given bonus experience and bonus gold. And I'm getting beeped at by somebody who doesn't understand that I'm busy. They said, oh, they're down at the dock. Okay. Now, again, my minion does nothing for me other than look pretty. This right here is the Rogues Guild, disguised as a Gentleman's Club. Which is to say, a bar. Okay, you're here for the Commodore Rainer's investigation. You'll want to board a ferry bound for Aleport. Once you arrive in Western Lenosha, you best pay a visit to the Hall of Novice before you blunder in Satasha. Adventurers Guild runs the hall, and the folks there will prepare you, train you with the skills, etc., etc., etc. Stuff I've already done and don't need to bother with. Airport, 40 gold to get us right there. Okay, now while we're here, we're going to speak to the Choco Keep and Link at the Aetherite. Something I forgot to do previously. Okay, we're linked. Now let's go get up to here. I actually feel somewhat naked just walking around rather than riding a chocobo. But I believe that's on purpose. Now, back when I played 2.0, we didn't have this. You didn't have this little section of the quest. But this is basically more intro to playing a... You notice they've got that jazz version of the crystals theme playing in the background. Okay. Men of the caves ought to be are rumored to be as numerous as they are bloodthirsty, no matter what the epic tales you would have believed. Strolling into such a den of savagery alone would be the height of foolishness. No, you need companions. And you shall need the training of the... I can strongly suggest you study the fundamentals of group combat before continuing on your mission. The Smith here oversees training schedules. Speak with him and you can register for the lessons. I've already done these lessons. I don't need to do this. When you've mastered all that our masters have to teach, then it will be time to head north once more. Return to the Yellow Jacket Scout of the... report to the Yellow Jacket Scout of the mouth of Satasha, and he will furnish you with the details of your duty. Okay. Now, before I go any further, I'm going to check to see if I've missed any roll jobs. And I have. Provoke. We are going to want Provoke. Provoke is an aggro grabber. It puts me at the top of the hate list for any enemy there. The problem with that, though, is if somebody else, it only puts you at just barely above the other people, so one hit will put them over. So you need to use that to grab aggro and then keep aggro. Please tell me you're here on Yellow Jacket duty and not some daft side out for a stroll. Any more of this blasted waiting? Thank the gods. I assume you already know about the ship, etc., etc. Cutthroats, etc., etc. Serpent Reavers, etc., etc. Radiant spot. Okay, use the duty finder to go ahead and do the mission. Believe me, I would love to. Okay, and once we get done with this dungeon, I'm going to call it for the day. You notice they have different layouts for different missions. We're going to do Satasha. Now, it generally takes 15 to 20 minutes as a DPS to get a group. It took me less than 10 seconds. That's how in demand tanks are, because everybody's playing the new classes. Everybody's playing Samurai. Everybody's playing Red Mage. And when I said skipping the cutscenes, that's so we can get the... So we have... have an astrologian, a scholar. Actually, no, that's a... Shit. That's... Okay. That's a red mage, I think, right here. By the way, I don't remember that, but that's a... Shit. Yep, they're definitely a red mage. And they are doing all the aggro. Okay, so I'm using my overpower there to do extra aggro while I'm hiding groups. But I'm mostly trying to keep to using my regular... Okay. They've been doing very well. In my experience, these guys are working very well together. That was clumsy. Of me, that is. You can tell that I'm rusty. I haven't done this in a while. I'm probably playing far more careful than I need to, but it's been a year plus since I've done anything. not doing too shabby. It's the way to go. Forward. Got potions there, and they named themselves the trade. Oh crap! These fellas named themselves the Trades. Okay, you've got good taste. I like that name. Not doing too bad. Okay. I'll let somebody else hit the things because I don't remember which one to hit. Moving the distance, and now we have a switch. And now we have our first dungeon boss, everybody. Every dungeon has 2 or 3 to 4 bosses like that. This is pretty standard stuff. I keep the hate on me while everybody else does their thing. And each boss you kill, you get a reward. A reward that does jack diddly for me. It's literally the same stats as the armor that I just got. Or it's my brand new armor from the Novice Guild stuff. That was entertaining. And now we have a fake out boss fight here. This guy, if I remember correctly, we get him down to near dead and he runs like a little coward. I love the name of Trades on that red name. You can see that they're a red mage because they're using the sword and switching from magic to melee. And they're running like a coward. It's something I do not need. Now watch what this little barmaid says. They say some really funny shit. Okay. Now this key gets us into the captain's quarters, which we get a key from there to go in over here, which is where we fight that. Actually fight the second boss. Okay. What shall be tonight, Cap? You're not the captain? I'm not one of them, I swear by what remains of my virtue. I like that line right there. She's basically saying that she's a whore. But then she is serving a bunch of pirates, and well, we all know what nautical beliefs were back in the Age of Sail and the ages of the oldie piracy about women on ships. Not that I necessarily agree with them. Mary Read and Anne Bonny did well, but of course they also dressed up and pretended to be dudes. Captain, let's put your buccaneers under your bucking hat. But we're at the second boss in only 15 minutes. Yeah, he ran like a coward. And what do we get here? Plundered rope belt. Great for magic users. Means jack diddly squat for me. like what I've seen of how that red mage is doing their thing. Because red mages in this are a hybrid of... Crap. Let's see if we can avoid him. I like how they cut the cooldowns or the time on my cooldowns. That means I can use my stuff a lot more often. Makes them a lot more useful. And of course my guild is talking a bunch of weird, nerdy, silly stuff that I'm not paying attention to because fighting boss. That for pony that I said there, that has nothing to do with My Little Pony, of which I do happen to be a fan, but that's beside the point. It's a reference to an old webcomic called Looking for Groot. There was a character named Richard the Warlock, who, when everybody was yelling their battle cry for whatever nation that they were trying to honor by fighting, he yelled for pony. That Ari is doing a good job of holding aggro, or getting the guys killed fast. Trying to kill them now as quick as I can. We kill the boss, everything else drops. Okay, now I'm going to give the healer... Actually, no, I'm going to give it to the red mage. This is my first time seeing a red mage in combat. I was impressed by what I saw. Bow Striker's mitts, gloves for a hand-to-hand melee character, so not my thing. Thought I hit pass on it. Anyway, we're out. And I got 2 player accommodations, so 2 of the 3 players said I did a good job. That makes me feel good about myself, because I was trying to get a hang of doing. Knowing what you need to do and actually having the presence of mind and the wherewithal to do it properly is 2 different stories. So doing that made me feel good about myself. Okay, so I have another ability now. Okay, I'm going to put you up here to go with my heavy swing. Another combo. Doesn't do as much damage, but it does reduce the target's slashing resistance. And axes, by definition, do slashing damage. So pretty much what I got was something that I can mix in with my Skull Sunder to have my hits do a little bit more damage. Now, that would be good for solo, but when I'm tanking, I'm just going to use the Skull Sunder and keep the enmity on me. You saw how sometimes enemies were pulling away from me. Anyway, that was the first dungeon in the game, Satoshi Sea Drive. Now, as I do the next series of quests after this, it'll take me then to Copperbell Mines and then to Tomtara Deepcroft. The two are the newbie instances by Olda and Gridania, respectively. But anyway, for now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to log out. I've been doing this for, 2.5 hours now. So I'd like to thank y'all very much for watching. Like, follow, and subscribe if you enjoyed the show. This has been Harmony Muse. Thank you and have a wonderful evening.